Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, chapter 1 of 7. Yeah. Mm, mhm. ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वं मरोगताम् अजाढ्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्. Yeah, I request Rashmi to chant Sri Rama Rama Ramiti and the Nishrenya shlokas. Rashmi.
निःश्रेण्यो ब्रह्मलोकस्य वाग्देव्याः कर्णकुण्डले धर्मद्रुममहामूले वाल्मीकिव्यासयोः कृति। श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं रामनामवरानने।
Thank you. All right. I think Ashwath joined alwa. Hi Ashwath.
Yeah, I lost the track of time.
Okay.
Only after seeing this, I realized it's already 9 o'clock.
Sorry, sorry. Kirti, no? Is she also joining? Kirti also?
No, no, she's in Kasargod. She'll join from next week.
Sure, sure. Okay. So yes, chapter 1 of 7. Would anybody else like to take the reading
Yeah, I
today?
can read.
Yes, Ashwath, please. Yeah.
Is the recording started?
The recording started, yes.
Okay, okay. Can you zoom in a little bit?
Little bit more.
Yeah, yeah, this is fine. There were 8 brave and illustrious advisors. They were pure and devoted and were always engaged in the king's tasks. Am I audible
Yeah,
properly?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, because I'm using the
Yes, yes.
headphone. Okay. King's tasks. Drishti, Jayanta, Vijaya, Siddhartha, Artha Sadhaka, Ashoka, Mantrapala, maybe,
Yeah, Mantrapala.
and Sumantra was the eighth. There were two officiating priests, supreme among rishis, Vasishtha and Vamadeva. There were other ministers too. They were prosperous and great souled, learned in the sacred texts and firm in their valor. They were controlled and the performance of deeds acting just as they said they would. They possessed.
One second, Ashwath.
Yeah,
Chinmayima is joining. Yeah. Namaste, Chinmayima. Yes, we've just started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Yeah.
They possessed energy, forgiveness, and fame. They smiled before they spoke. Because of anger, desire, or wealth, they never spoke false words. There was nothing that was unknown to them in their own kingdom or in that of others, whether it had been done, was being done, or was being thought of. Nice. This was ensured through spies. They were skilled in administration and their affections had been tested. At the night time, the appropriate punishment was imposed, even on their own sons. They were devoted to accumulating the treasury and the army. They caused no violence to even men who were unfriendly, as long as they were blameless. They were brave and always full of enterprise, devoted to the science of governing. Pure and always protected those who resided in the kingdom. In an attempt to fill up the treasury, they did not cause violence to Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. After examining a man's strengths and weaknesses, they imposed extremely stiff punishments. Pure and single minded, all of them governed together. In the city or in the kingdom, there was no man who was a liar. Actually, the previous sentence, in an attempt to fill up the treasury, they did not cause violence to Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. Why they mentioned only two things? If they are mentioning Varnas, there should be four, right?
So again, these
I
are the.
don't know.
Huh?
I'm just thinking,
Hmm.
and I'm just thinking, for filling up the treasury, one is the king. I don't know violence why it's used, but the Brahmanas did not earn, so the king was the one who gave them the money to live ಅಂತ
Shelter.
that's what it was in the past ಅಲ್ವಾ
Hmm.
ಸೊ ಅವರಿಗೇನು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗದೆ ಟ್ರೆಷರಿನ ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದು ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್
Hmm.
ಆರ್ ಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಅದರ್ ಕಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಫಿಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಪ್ ದ ಟ್ರೆಷರಿ ದೇ ಡಿಂಟ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆರ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್ maybe that's what I
Or
thought.
it could be that if they're if the, what you said is definitely one perspective, Rashmi. So ಇನ್ನೊಂದು could be that their priority was to make sure that the treasury is filled up ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲಿ ದೇ ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಸಮ್ ಬಡ್ಜೆಟ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು. ಬಡ್ಜೆಟ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಖರ್ಚು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಆ ಖರ್ಚು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಟು ಎನ್ಶ್ಯೂರ್ ದಟ್ ದ ಬೇರ್ ನೆಸೆಸಿಟೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ the kshatriyas and brahmanas who are taking care of the dharma of the kingdom and the protection of the kingdom is not getting stopped ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ದೆನ್ ದೇ ವರ್ ನಾಟ್, ಇಟ್ ಶುಡಂಟ್ ಬಿ ದ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ದಟ್ their bare minimum is also not given to them. So in an attempt to fill up the treasury, they did not cause violence to brahmanas and kshatriyas, which means they didn't maybe collect too much taxes from them, or
No, no,
they
taxes was only from the vaishyas.
huh,
That's what I know. So,
huh,
but ನೀವ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಅದೇ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ
hmm,
they were the one who provided to the brahmanas ಅಲ್ವಾ.
hmm.
So the kings were the one who provided.
Correct,
But
correct.
are you saying the same thing or something different?
Same thing, yeah. So they were because brahmanas and kshatriyas were necessary for the uplifting of dharma and the protection ali, right? So again, I'm constantly thinking about what could be the psychological meaning, philosophical and psychological meaning, right? So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರೆಷರಿನ I'm trying to have a very secured life, right? I'm trying to save my money, but in that process I'm not becoming a conjuice person when it comes to spending on knowledge and protecting myself. So knowledge is brahmanas and protecting myself is kshatriyas. Does that make sense, right? So
Yeah,
uh, while I'm being very miserly in my spending, I'm not being miserly in spending towards knowledge and my self protection. So if we can take it that way, maybe.
yeah, that makes more sense.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
There was no man who was wicked, addicted to another person's wife. Okay, full stop. Everything in the kingdom was peaceful, and the city was also like that. All of them were well attired and well decorated, excellent in conduct. For the sake of the king, their eyes of good policy were always open. They obtained their good qualities from their preceptors. Preceptors, Sandra?
Gurus,
Gurus.
acharyas.
And were renowned for their valor. Because of their intelligence and decisions, they were famous in foreign countries too. These were the qualities that the advisors possessed. With their aid, the unblemished king Dasharatha ruled the earth. He ruled the earth,
Yeah.
or I mean, does it mean the whole earth or the
It's a metaphor. Ada. It's
metaphor?
a
Okay,
metaphor.
okay, okay,
It's a
got it.
metaphor.
You using spice, he kept an eye on what happened. He delighted the subjects through dharma. There was no one who was his superior or equal, nor did he have any enemies. Those ministers were devoted to providing advice that brought welfare. They were devoted, accomplished, and skilled and surrounded him. The king thus gained radiance radiance. He was like a rising sun, illuminating with its blazing rays.
Right.
So the
So
sun is used as a neutral gender here.
illuminating with its, yeah,
Its
its
blazing
blazing rays.
rays.
Yeah, yeah, correct. Right. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ using spice, he kept an eye. Uh, he kept an eye using spice. What do you think the spies are in one's in one's body, in one's psychology? What are the spies? You're talking about one person. Dasharatha is also the dharma following element of me, and it says Dasharatha was using spice to keep an eye as to what was happening. Who could or what could those spies be within us?
Maybe my own conscience.
My own conscience alwa. So conscience, so ivaga there is constant input coming into my sense organs. So if I instantly react, there is a reaction, but if I take a pause and then contemplate on the best reaction, then it becomes response. That's the difference between reaction and response. Navneeta and I, we
Yeah.
use that a lot in our sessions, in our behavioral sessions. So difference between reaction and response is unprocessed actions are reactions and processed actions are responses. Okay?
Mm.
So if I took a stone and threw it at a dog, the only two possibilities is it will either run away or it will attack me. It will bark and it fight or flight. Alva? So that is an instantaneous Newton's third law that's happening. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? But if the same stone is thrown at a person, the person can ask, "Hey, why did you throw?" Alva? Now the dog will not ask, "Hey, why did you throw?" I didn't do anything to you. Why are you harming me? So the dog will not get into a conversation there. Alva? So with every input that is entering my five sense organs, if I am hitting that pause button and being aware, and this is what I am smelling, this is what I am tasting, this is what I am seeing, am I becoming a slave of that sensation, right? So that awareness of each of those sensations could be the spice. That's my understanding. Does that make sense, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
like
Yeah.
I saw
aware.
today Ashwatthana's status. He put something like observe the emotion. Like Harak Bandhu was seeing the
Yeah, yeah,
emotion.
yeah.
Correct, correct.
As-
That is the spy, I think. Right. So you're looking at it from a secret angle. It's like I have an eye on you ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಅಲ್ವಾ ನಿನ್ನ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು
Yeah.
ಕಣ್ಣಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. So that could be the spy, right? So yeah, nice. Any other?
Spying on what within us?
Every
Like
sensation
the
that's happening before it is
everything.
becoming a perception. So if we have to clearly understand the difference between sensation and perception, sensation is what is entering my five sense organs.
Hmm.
What I am processing that as is perception. ಅಲ್ವಾ? With
Correct.
my eyes closed, if I touch a belt, I can start thinking it's a belt or it's a rope or it's a snake. So touching the belt is sensation, feeling it is sensation, processing that to be a snake or a belt or a rope is perception. You
Hmm.
keep an eye and be aware, and you have that conscience like Rashmi mentioned, or that awareness is like yene agirli, let me not jump into conclusions and get into reactions now, let me respond appropriately. That could be the spy. So
Now then, what is the my country and foreign country means here? See,
very
they're using spies for the foreign country and I mean the kings of other.
Elito will see that sentence again. Mm, foreign ಅಂತಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ ಅದು.
Yeah.
After examining a man's strengths and weaknesses, they imposed extremely stiff punishments. That is being very strict about what sort of sensations you are entertaining.
Hmm.
Alva?
Also,
So
maybe being uh, around us also what is happening. ಅದರದ್ದು ನಾವು ಅವೇರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆ ನಮ್ ಸುತ್ತಲೇ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ
ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ
ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಅವೇರ್.
ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಇರೋದು. ಯಾ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡೆಸಿಷನ್ಸ್, ಸಿ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಿವೇಕ ಅಗೇನ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ದೇ ವರ್ ಫೇಮಸ್ ಇನ್ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಸೊ ನಾವು if there is one single consciousness, I mean, the consciousness in all of us is that one single shared consciousness, which is split into multiple finite consciousness. The infinite consciousness has split into multiple finite consciousnesses, alva. So we are all different manifestations of the same consciousness. So if I am being extremely dharmic, and if another person is actually getting influenced because of that, if another finite consciousness is getting influenced because of my dharma, then the other person is the foreign country ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ನು ನೋಡಿ ಕಲಿಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದ ಅದರ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಂಗೆ ತಗೋಬೋದಾ. ಸೊ ರೈಟ್, ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿ,
Yeah.
if it makes sense. I'd
Oh.
encourage the others also. Please share your thoughts. Deepu, Sushmita, Shweta. I hope you all sort of got the context of what we are discussing. So everything and anything we read in the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, we will try to see how it is related to me and my psychology and within my body. Right, so ಈಗ ಸ್ಪೈಸ್ ಅಂತ ನೋಡಿದ್ದು, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸಮ್ ಸ್ಪೈಸ್ ಹು ಆರ್ ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟೆಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಆರ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ಟು ಗೋ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಸೀಕ್ರೆಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕಮ್. ನನ್ನಲ್ಲೇ ನಡೀತಾರ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಸೆನ್ಸೇಷನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಯುನೋ ಇನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅರೌಂಡ್ ಮೀ, ಅದನ್ನು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದಟ್ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್. ಸೊ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಪೈ. That is the spy. That's what we are trying to contemplate. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or thoughts, or we can start chapter 1 of 8. Shumarna?
Also the names of the mantris were very interesting. ಅಂದ್ರೆ
Yes, good
ಅದು
that you noticed it. ಏನೇನಿತ್ತು? ದೃಷ್ಟಿ.
Drishti.
ಹಾಂ, ಜಯಂತ. ಏನದು? It's so
who
nice actually.
reading
Very good that you noticed that. But
ಹಾ
ಜಯಂತ
ಏನೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕೊನೆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಟಾಸ್ಕ್ ಅಂತ.
ಜಯಂತ. Okay. Vijaya is victory. Siddhartha is Siddhaihi Arthayati Yah Sah Siddhartha. That is the definition of the name Siddhartha. One who is desired by the desireless. So it's a state of mind that once you become desireless, you will desire for that. That is Siddhartha.
or also Siddhaha Arthaha Yasya
Siddha
Saha.
Artha Yasya Saha also.
Who has everything clear,
Yes,
something like that.
yes ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸಿದ್ಧಾರ್ಥ ಯಶ ಸಹ ತತ್ಪುರುಷ ಸಮಾಸ ಅದು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Right, whose sort of arthas are very clear and distinct and fulfilled,
Correct.
whose desires are fulfilled. Right, artha sadhaka, one who is practicing towards meaning, towards artha.
Correct.
Alva. Ashoka, one without shoka, one who has no sadness. Alva.
Yeah.
Here, Artha can also be means wealth.
Wealth also. It can wealth of knowledge, wealth of health.
Again,
The wealth of
the
health.
thing is that the minister should have all these qualities,
All these
and
qualities.
that will help the king a lot.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
so
absolutely.
meaningful.
Very nice, very nice. Drishti is of course sight, alva. Vision, yeah. Alva. Mantrapala.
There is a particular mention of 8 over here.
Ah,
If you go to see, 8 can also mean the Ashtadikpalakas,
ಅದು ಆಗ್ಬೋದು.
who are very much responsible for everything that is happening in this world
Yeah.
and the conduct of it in the most appropriate way, which is why he's put here 8
8 also.
brave, little illustrious people. Okay,
correct.
there that can be taken, I think.
Correct. Yeah. Even Hanuman Chalisa, we have Ashtasiddhi. Alva?
Yes,
Ashtasiddhi.
everything is 8 because
A
the
lot of
8 number is
has that. Yeah.
is supposed to be achieving
Correct.
always. 8 is
That's
hard work and achievement. Yes.
Yeah. That's nice. And Sumantra. How would you translate Sumantra, Rashmi? Su-mantra? Manam trayate iti mantra. So Su-mantra.
ಹಾ
So your trayate iti mantra.
Artha sadhaka. What does it mean actually?
Artha is again wealth or meaning, both.
ನಿಮ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ
ನಂದ ಹೌದಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆಯಾ? Am I audible?
Larguna.
ಈಗ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? Am I audible now? Am I audible now? ನನಗೆ ಸಾರಿ, ನನಗೆ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಶೇರ್
Artha means
ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ.
wealth only.
Am I audible now? ಈಗ ಕೇಳಿಸುತ್ತಾ? ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿ
ಆಫ್
ನೋಡೋಣ.
ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಓಕೆ. ಈಗ ಈಗ Am I audible now?
There.
ಹಾ, ನಾವು ಯಾರು ಆಡಿ?
Yes, yes, yes.
ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡರ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್
For
ಆಗಿದೆ
me,
ನೋಡು.
you are always audible.
ಯಾ, ಈಗ Am I audible now?
Yeah.
ಈಗ ಕೇಳಿಸುತ್ತಾ?
Yes, yes.
Yes, you are.
ಹಾಂ, ಓಕೆ
Yes.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ, ಎಸ್. ಹಾಂ. ಓ ಶುಡ್, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಐ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ನೌ. Am I back now?
Yes, yes, we
Okay.
can hear you.
Okay, okay, okay. So, Artha Sadhaka ma Chinmayma, Artha is both wealth and meaning, both. Artha. So, one who is.
Sadhaka means a person who looks after the wealth.
No, sadhaka is one who practices.
Would it mean that?
Like sadhakam cheynavale, like doing
Practices
sadhakam for
wealth.
sangeetam, practices or does his sort of practice.
Correct, correct. That I get it, but here is this. Oh.
Works towards it.
Practices money means that won't work. Practices wealth would also mean practicing taking care of the wealth properly. All right.
Practicing, yeah, taking care, trying
Okay.
to
We
increase
can
it.
take it as anything.
Yeah. Like Devartha again.
Sure.
ದೇವಸ್ಯ ಅರ್ಥಃ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇವೈಹಿ ಅರ್ಥಯತಿ ಯಹ ಸಹ ದೇವಾರ್ಥಃ ಅಂತ ಅಗೇನ್ ಒನ್ ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಸೈರ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ದ ಗಾಡ್ಸ್, ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಗಾಡ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಬೋತ್, ಇಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಬೋತ್. ಸೊ ಆ ಥರ ಈವನ್ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ Kalartham is the meaning of arts or for arts or a wealth of arts. So artham can be taken any way that. All right, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think we have Purnima Chichi also who's joined. Hi, Purnima Chichi. Good, welcome. Good to
Hello,
see you.
hello. I'm so sorry. I did not have the
Link,
login
no
and
problem. Yeah. Quick
I'm sorry.
introduction about
I have to join
Purnima
that.
Menon. She was my colleague who turned out to become like an elder sister of mine. so she was
Oh, sweet.
she's the chief marketing officer of Marlabs, an extremely illustrious lady, a very sweet person, and a fantastic Kathakali artist. So we have one more artist on the group. Yeah.
Oh my God. Thank
Yeah,
you
yeah.
for that wonderful introduction, Rahul. Sorry, I'm not in a place where I can put the camera, but truly humbled and looking forward to learning a lot from all of you.
Absolutely.
I did, I definitely went through the first recording and it was, it was really nice to see a lot of young people taking
Yeah.
such deep interest in our,
Yeah. So,
in some of these texts. So
please
we're looking
watch
forward
the
to learning
rest
from
of
all
it
of you.
also. We've had, especially towards the end, we've had really nice questions coming and a lot of deep thought processes. Yeah. So very nice to have you. Thank you for joining. So
Thank you,
I think
Rahul.
Deepa will join us from the next session. So she said Meghana is with her today.
Rahul, Kathy also may join. You may see her request
Oh,
on
lovely.
the.
Oh, is she joining today?
I gave her the link. I'm not sure if she'll join today or next
Sure.
week.
She's
Let's
welcome.
see.
She's welcome. Yeah. By the way, Purnima Chichi is also there on the Bhajagovindam video. So for those.
Oh, she
yeah,
is
she's also
okay.
there.
Okay,
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Oh God, don't remind me of that. Please.
I
So,
see
I
all of
wish,
them
there
every
are
day in the
times
morning.
when
So I will, when I see their faces, I can recognize.
yeah.
oh my goodness. No,
So-
there are times when I wish that I had, taken music lessons a bit more seriously or I've never taken music seriously or I never had music lessons. But when I was doing this, I really wish that I was a trained singer because this was very difficult for me. But thanks to Rahul, I think we did something.
Yeah,
So
it is
yeah.
very sweet. In fact, we used to meet in the office in the training room every Friday, second half, just to learn some music. So, we missed those sessions. Yeah. Very nice. All right. Welcome, Chichi, once again. Yes, please. stay with us
Thank
in
you.
the journey. Yeah. Right. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I think we'll start off with. So Drishti, Jayanta, Vijaya, Siddhartha, Arthasadhaka, Ashoka, Mantrapala, and Sumantra were the 8 ministers of Dasharatha who were ensuring that his kingdom was spick and span, being run at its best version, right? And like we just discussed, Drishti, Jayanta, Vijaya, Siddhartha, Arthasadhaka, Ashoka, Mantrapala, and Sumantra, if we look at the word meanings, they each have a very very unique meaning. Drishti being vision, Jayanta being taking care that something, Rashmi, please correct me, you ensure that it is completed antana. What does Jayanta mean?
How the
Ah,
pushing the task till its end,
pushing.
finishing it.
Very nice. I think that's an important quality we all need, halwa. So pushing that task
Um,
until it's end, until
Over
it's
here,
completed.
there's Vasishta and Vamadeva. Now, who
Yeah.
is Vamadeva?
Vasishta Vamadevadi Vandita Mahaganapatim also it comes now. So
Correct,
ah,
correct. But who is Vamadeva actually?
Vamadeva is also one of the Munis, and it is also one of the avatars of Shiva also. The
Is it?
Pancha, you have this five as
Panchabutas,
no, no, not Bhutas. There
Panchalinga.
you have five aspects of Shiva: Tatpurusha,
Panchamukha
Satyojata,
Shiva.
Tatpursha, Aghora, Vamadeva, correct.
Satya,
Yes, yes.
Satyojata, all those,
Yeah,
no?
yeah, Vamadeva is
That
there,
is a
Shana.
yes.
different Vamadeva, by the way. So
Ah, okay.
Vamadeva there is one who was into this Vamachara, so the proper
Tantric way of life.
tantric way of doing worship, right? So here the Vamadeva is a different Maharshi. I think he was also a
Vamapada.
Brahmarshi, Vamadeva.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
Vasishta
Fine.
Vamadevadi Vandita Mahaganapatim. So that is, they are
Yes,
Munis
Mahagana.
only.
Vasishta Vamadeva.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So Purnima Jishi, just again a quick, giving you a context. Everything that we read through the epics, Mahabharatam and Ramayana, it can be correlated into a psychological aspect within us. Everything, right? So every character is one behavior of mine which is blown up into a whole person in the epic, right? So we are doing that contemplation as in when we are reading it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Chapter
Yes.
1 of 8. Ashwath?
Yeah. He knew about Dharma, was great souled, and was powerful. However, he did not have a son who would extend the lineage, and he was tormented because of the lack of a son. While he reflected on this, a thought occurred to the great souled one. For the sake of a son, why don't I perform a horse sacrifice?
Ashwamedha
The,
Yaga.
intel-
That is the.
the intelligent one made up his mind to undertake such a sacrifice and consulted with all his pure ministers. The king told Sumantra, supreme among ministers, quickly summon the priests and all my seniors. Having heard this, the
Suta. Suta.
Suta,
The Suta were charioteers and bards, but were sometimes advisors to kings. The footnote Suta.
okay,
Like
Suta,
Like
like
Sanjaya.
Karna was also called a Suta
Sanjaya.
Putra. No? So
Yeah, like
charioteers.
Suta,
Sanjaya is the
okay,
Suta
okay,
of Dhritarashtra.
In
got
what?
it.
Sorry.
Like Sanjaya was the
Was
Suta
for the
and the advisor. So
advisor.
yeah,
Exactly. Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra. Yes, that's the right example. Yes. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Suta, having heard this, the Suta, Sumantra. So Sumantra was a Suta.
Advisor and charioteer both.
Okay, okay. Spoke to the king in secret. I have heard an ancient account that was instructed by the officiating priests. O king, in an assembly of sages, the illustrious
Sanat Kumara. Sanat
Sanat
Kumara.
Kumara had earlier recounted this tale about how he would obtain sons. Kashyapa has a son who is famous by the name of Vibhandaka. He will have a son who will be renowned by the name of Rishashringa. The sage will always be reared in the forest and will always roam around in the forest. That Indra among Brahmanas will not know anyone else and will always follow his father. That great souled one will observe both kinds of brahmacharya. I'm not actually so
Following
so
what they're, whom they are
where
referring to, huh?
who who is explaining whom here?
Illy, the whole thing is being recounted by Narada, alva? I mean, if we look at it from the beginning. So,
Okay, so this Sumantra is saying to the king,
ah, I have heard of an
right?
ancient account that was instructed by the officiating priest, right? O king, in an assembly. This illy inverted, single inverted commas bandiyala, so it's a dialogue there, direct speech.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
O king, in an assembly of sages, the illustrious Sanat Kumara had earlier recounted this tale about how you would obtain sons. ಹಿಂದೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಒಂದ್ಸಲಿ ಅವ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದ, he had mentioned about it.
Okay.
Kashyapa has a son who is famous by the name of Vibhandaka. He will have a son who will be renowned by the name of Rishishringa. That sage will always be reared in the forest and will always roam around in the forest. ಯಾರು ಇದೆ ರಿಷಿಶೃಂಗ.
Rishesh Ranga. Okay,
ರಿಷಿಶೃಂಗ,
okay,
ಓಕೆ,
okay,
ಇಲ್ಲಿ the
okay.
footnote ಇದೆ ರಿಷಿಶೃಂಗ. This is being
Uh,
foretold as something that will happen in the future. Like literally, Rishishringa means the rishi who possesses horns on that. Since
hmm.
Shringa also means peak, this can also be interpreted as a lofty sage, somebody like a really, really important sage, Tara, right?
Rishesh Ranga Parvata. That's what
But it
is.
was named after the sage. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Sringeri.
Ah, so
Hmm.
that sage will always be reared in the forest and will always roam around in the forest. That Indra among Brahmanas will not know anyone else and will always follow his father. That great souled one will observe both kinds of brahmacharya. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಫುಟ್ನೋಟ್ ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. The word brahmacharya is usually translated as celibacy, but that's a simplification. Brahmacharya means conduct along the path of the Brahman. Right? In the four stages or ashramas of life, brahmacharya is the first, followed by grahastya, vanaprastha, and sannyasa in that order. Brahmacharya is the stage when one is a student and follows celibacy, right? Hence, this is the first kind of ashrama. On attaining the stage of a householder, that is grihastya, Brahmacharya is not interpreted as celibacy. Instead, it means intercourse at prescribed times and for prescribed purposes. This is the second kind of brahmacharya, right? So here they are saying
Hmm.
he had observed both kinds of brahmacharya, and one before marriage and one after marriage.
Hmm.
Yeah, the path of the Brahman.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So it here that Indra among Brahmanas means he
Rishishringa
was
only.
the greatest Brahmana, kind of that
Like
meaning.
the, yeah, yeah. Indra is the metaphor once again.
Yes,
So
one of the best among
one of
them.
the best another.
They
Yeah,
always
yeah, yeah.
they always use this the bull among the monkeys, the
Bull.
Indra among the monkeys. And then
Correct.
they will see it like that.
Correct. Correct. Like the finest ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾರೆ, or the most powerful one amongst them.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
O king, he will be famous in the world and will always be spoken by Brahmanas. The illustrious one will tend to the sacrificial
Sacrificial fire.
fire, sacrificial fire, and his father. The time will come for him to be brought here. At that time, there will always be an extremely strong, powerful, and famous king named
Romapada.
Romapada in Anga because of because of a transgression. Transgression means
It's ಇದಲ್ಲ, you it's right. Wait,
like
wait.
migration.
ಇಲ್ಲ, transgression is like going against going against rules and going against laws ತರ ಅದು. You're breaking something or you're
Going
going
against.
against rules ತರ basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because of a transgression committed by the king, there will be an extremely terrible period of drought. It will be so terrible that all the creatures will face fear. Because of the onset of the drought, the king will be overcome by grief. He will summon Brahmanas and those who are aged in learning and address them. All of you know the sacred texts of Dharma and also know about the nature of the words. Instruct me about the rituals and about the atonement I should perform. The Brahmanas, learned in the Vedas, will tell the king, O king, Vibhandaka's son provides all the means. Bring him here. O king, bring Rishishringa and honor him extremely well. Control yourself. Follow the rituals and bestow your daughter, Shanta, on him. Hearing their words, by the way, Shanta was whose daughter?
Dasharatha's.
Dasharatha's
Dasharatha.
adopted daughter.
Adopted. I mean, I wanted to know which wife's daughter. It's
I have
adopted.
heard that she is Dasharatha's adopted daughter.
No,
Andre,
there's golden. There's a different story which goes for this. There was a golden. He wanted a daughter. She wanted a daughter very much. So, a thing was made of gold, and after that it came to life. I don't know how that thing, the whole thing. I don't know, but on the whole, that's what happened, and that's how the daughter was very precious to Dasharatha. And then he says, the Rishyasringa will come, you give her in marriage to Rishyasringa, so that the Ashwamedha Yajna will go on well. So
Oh,
that the whole thing will go on well, then you will get
a
sons.
son. Okay.
That's what, that is the fun, the
yeah,
overall story
even
is
I have
very
heard
clear.
that she was initially gold. I have heard that she was initially gold and Adike Jiva Bharathe. And then Dasharatha adopts her as her daughter and she marries Rishyashringa for the Putra Kameshti Yaga. Andre, in general, she marries Rishyashringa and then they perform the Putra Kameshti Yagya because without a wife, Rishyashringa cannot perform. Without a wife, they can't perform any of the yagas, in fact. Patni Andrene, the word Patni itself means Patyuhu Yajna, the one who is with the Pati in
In
Yajna.
the
And
yagna.
Pati means the one who is with the Patni in Yajna.
Okay.
So
Okay.
every Yajna needs a Pati and a Patni.
Okay.
So that's why they say, let's marry Shanta, then Rishi Shringa will perform the yagas.
Nice. Now, I think the homework for us is to contemplate what does this mean, right? Philosophically and
Shanta.
psychologically. Yeah. Maybe we'll try to figure out the exact story of Shanta. I'll also do some research. So, how she came about? How what is this gold thing? Check
I
my.
saw it in Ramayana on the serial.
In the
That's all.
serial, is it? Okay, okay. What does it mean? I mean, about you know, if Dasharatha, if he adopted a daughter who was made of
Yeah,
gold,
yeah.
what does that
And
mean?
then it was this Shanta thing had, that's when I knew that there was a daughter.
Hmm.
I didn't even know he had a daughter.
Same story I have read in Koran.
Okay.
I think in the serial they have shown that it was Kausalya's daughter. But what
Kausalya
I
only.
have read in
Kausalya only. Yeah.
but what I have read in a few books is that she was adopted. Actually, Munche used to adopt. I don't know if that was common. Even Kunti was adopted, Alva. Kunti was adopted by Kunti Bhoja.
Is it?
She was also an adopted
She was
daughter.
an
So
adopted daughter.
I
Yeah.
think it was common for kings to adopt. I don't know, girl children.
Anyway, that we can check out. Maybe we can see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shanta, again, the meaning of the word
All
is,
right.
is peace. Or,
Navnita,
yeah,
no,
Ashwin.
Navnita ji is saying something different.
Yeah, Navneeta? Sorry, when I'm
She
sharing,
was
it doesn't come.
adopted by King Roma.
One of the theories is showing this King Pramapada and Varshini. That's why I'm now confused. Uh,
Okay. Let's check that. We can. I that's why I've highlighted that in the book. We'll look at it. We'll definitely look at it. Each character we want to make sure it's covered. Yeah. So I think in the interest of time, we'll go ahead.
means calmness, right?
Shanta is calmness
Shanta.
or peace, right? Shanta
Hmm.
rasa. So it's one of the rasas also. Shanta was added actually. We only had they only there were only 8 rasas initially. There were no 9 rasas. The ninth rasa was Shanta. It got added later on.
Okay.
So Shanta is peace, right? So I think peace is like the ultimate rasa, right? So everything else will sort of get you restless, but it is only Shanta that will settle you down. So And if that rasa or that ultimate calmness is being offered to Rishyashringa, what does that psychologically mean? Right. So Rishyashringa was the bull among rishis, and Dasharatha offered him calmness. Does you know?
Who is
And then he can,
Dasharatha there?
and because of that, he can also do yajnas, which can bestow children to a person without children.
Yeah, right.
Like
Yeah.
when,
So first ಶಾಂತವಾಗಿರು ಅಂತ ಶಾಂತ ho jao, so so it was converted into a daughter who was given in marriage. Yeah. So you have to marry peace of mind, but that's like an oxymoron, no? You marrying peace of marriage and peace of mind.
Oh, that's only oxymoron in current
Current
generation, not
generation,
that
yeah. In the previous generation, it is yeah. You yeah, yeah. Happy marriage and they call it an oxymoron, no? So as a joke, yeah. On a funnier note. Yeah, I think we can take it for the time being that you try to offer Rishashringa a lot of calmness and peace. So he is at the right peace of mind for him to bless you with children. So I think we'll take it that way, but we'll definitely get back to that. Ali,
yeah.
Shant.
Also, one more thing I've heard that Rishyashringa from his birth he was not exposed to anyone apart from his father.
His father.
Illu ide, he would only know his father. So he didn't even know that a species called woman
Oh, oh,
existed
oh, oh,
actually.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There
Okay.
are many stories to tell this.
See, that's an important
So
thing.
maybe just to make him as a mellowed down person.
Hmm.
Shringa means kodu, that also symbolizes kind of aggression and arrogance. I
Correct,
mean,
correct.
I don't know arrogance.
Like sort of a majestic, like a huge
Yeah,
presence. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, just to like humble him.
Could be to calm him down, basically. Yeah, to
Yeah.
could be. Yeah.
But who is Dasharatha among, I mean, when we compare to a person, what is Dasharatha
I think
stands for?
as of now, my understanding is he's like the equivalent of Yudhishthira right now for me. Right. I think we will find more insights. He's like the Dharma, ultimate follower of Dharma. As of now, I think it will change as we go through. So, but for somehow I'm sort of correlating him with Yudhishthira for the time being. I might be wrong, but yeah. So far in the reading, Dasharatha is one who is at the peak of adhering to dharma. Again, I
Uh,
would also like to know the meaning of Dasha and Ratha. What are the 10 rathas?
yeah,
Ah, 10 rathas. That is also something we need to contemplate.
I think Dasharatha is like maybe like power, the kind of power that one has. I don't know. In power in the sense authority power ಆತರ ಬರೀ physical strength ಅಲ್ಲ.
Hmm. What is
That
what
a
is the
person
Dasha? Why not
in all
Panchendriyas,
10
Ashtaratha?
directions.
Karmendriyas, Pancha Jnanendriyas.
ಇದ್ರೂ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. That's a very nice correlation. Pancha Jnanendriyas and Pancha Karmendriyas both put together will be 10. That's a very good correlation.
And
So,
he has eight ministers of eight different qualities.
hmm, hmm.
So because of them, he is able to look after his kingdom.
I think that makes sense because Ratha is again chariot, and in Chandogya Upanishad also it says Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi Shariram Ratham Evatu Alva. So Shariram is the Ratha. So Ratha and Dasha, the Dasha elements of the Ratha will be the Panchajnanendriyas and Panchakarmendriyas. So I think that makes sense. We can confirm that with some authentic source. Panchajnanendriyas are
Also, a warrior who can fight all 10 directions at one go
Adu
is
Agbodu.
what one of the, yeah, all the 10 directions at the same time. So that's one thing that I'm
Dasha
reading
Dishi.
here.
Yeah, we have Dasha
Yeah,
Dishi. So,
actually, the correct meaning is what Navanita ji said. He had his rathas in all the 10 directions. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟ ದಿಕ್ಕುಗಳು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ವರ್ಗಲೋಕ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಪಾತಾಳ ಲೋಕ
Patala Loka, up and
ಎಲ್ಲಾ
down.
ದಿಕ್ಕುಗಳಿಗೂ ಒಂದು ರಥ ಹೋಗಿ he used to even help the gods to fight wars ಅಂತ.
Beautiful.
That's the meaning.
Beautiful. See, now if he was going there, which would ultimately mean that his five sense organs and his five locomotory organs, basically Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas, they were in sync, right? So, only if I have the five of both in absolute sync, SYNC sync, not SINK sync, right? So if they are all in absolute synchronized state, only then I can really do supernatural things like fight in all 10 directions or whatever it is. So I can go beyond, become super powerful. So I think it means both. So that I think that's a good insight. It can either be the 10 indriyas or the 10 directions. One who could fight in all 10 directions. That's nice. That's nice.
So he has the power in all the 10 directions. Nobody can beat him from any direction, kind of.
Correct. Correct. That's right.
Also, why I said power was because the only thing that can bend your authority or your power is your moha. So Dasharatha had a lot of moha for Rama, and in instances we also see Kaikeyi. Andre, according to what I read, he was too much attracted or amoha ittu Kaikeyi.
Got
So
it.
the power or the sense goes down when there's a lot of
Oh,
moha. So that's
absolutely.
why I thought about him as
Absolutely.
power.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we will
It
see that.
it could also mean the extent of alertness that a person has, right? If all 10 directions, I feel I would interpret it that way.
Mhm.
The amount of the manner in which that person is alert to all sorts of
So
threats.
that's precisely what we saw in the previous chapter 1 of 7. The spies that he had, all of those, because he was
Right, right.
ultimately dharmic, he was powerful enough to fight in all 10 directions, right? So I'm bringing it's ultimately that he was a complete adherer to dharma. I think we're coming back to that point only. So whatever power he had, I mean, whatever direction he could fight, whatever 10 sense organs, I mean, 10 sensory karmendriyas or gnanendriyas he had in control was because he was dharmic, right? So ಅದನ್ನ one slight adharma ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು either my sense or my gnanendriyas will fall or my karmendriyas will fall.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That is a standing example of that was Ravana.
ah,
He was a picture of perfection till he was a bhakta of Shiva.
Shiva.
Once that thing happened and he slipped, then from that the slip was
It's
led to his
interesting,
end.
Allah. I mean, so you have the one side you have Dasharatha here, and you have Dashamukha Brahmana, right? So the Ravana basically having 10. So you have on the positive side also you have something with 10, and on the negative side also you have something with 10. So it's interesting. So
I think that's reference to the karma indriyas and the jnana indriyas
could
only,
be.
that dasha.
Ah,
So if it's like either you are in control of all of them,
correct, correct. But
otherwise they
but the
are in
10 heads
control of
of
you.
Ravana is different, alwa. Dashera festival also they come up with these,
Mm.
no, the
Ten
different.
heads of Ravana are four Vedas and six Vedangas.
ಹೌದಾ
ಅಂದ್ರೆ
This is
ಎಲ್ಲ ಥಿಯರಿ ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಅವನು. He knew all the four Vedas, Vedangas perfectly, nothing into implication,
Oh, perfect.
nothing into his real life. That's
Oh,
what
those are the
it
10
is.
heads then.
Yes,
So
yes. Four Vedas and
it's nothing to do with the
four Vedas, four
Dashahara and
Vedas,
all of
six
those.
Vedas.
Nothing to do with
That
the
is
10
news.
negative qualities. That's a wrong connotation then. Or
yeah, no, that's what now Yake Ravanana actually doesn't mean he literally had 10 heads. It's that ashtu knowledge ittu avanige anta. Ashtu knowledge, but he did not apply anything. That's why we burn him.
And he realizes that at the end of his life. That's what happens.
Ayyo,
So
so
right.
sad.
yeah.
ಅವಾಗ ಯೂಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಕತೆ ಮುಗೀತು.
So he had knowledge, he didn't have wisdom. So that's the difference.
He was like the chat GPT of those days.
But
Nice,
ChatGPT
nice,
knows how to apply
nice
now.
analogy. That's a good analogy.
It's nice. It's nice. Very nice. Okay. Okay. That is a very
Okay.
nice contemplation.
Sorry. Uh, Hearing their
But
words,
I still would prefer this 5 o'clock in the morning, Rahul. Really,
A lot
at
of
this
people.
time of the day, it's like okay, fine, that way.
A
That
lot of
fresh
people.
is there in the morning.
Yeah, I think the
Anyway,
topic
no,
is
no, no.
keeping me
Do
fresh
do
anyway.
what is comfortable. Do
Yeah.
whatever is comfortable for the time.
Yeah. All right. Ethan Muxman, I think we'll finish this chapter. It's
yeah.
a little more a step. Okay.
So, hearing their words, the king will begin to think. Through what means will I be able to bring the valiant one here? Having consulted with him with his ministers, the king will make up his mind. With the requisite honors, he will dispatch his priests and advisers. On hearing the king's words, they will be distressed, distressed and will lower their faces. O king, we entreat you. We are sick. We are scared of the rishi. See, the rishi is
118.
so fierce.
118 Rishi is Vibhandaka. They are referring to Vibhandaka here.
Oh, Vibhandaka.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and cannot go there. Having thought about it, we will tell you of a means whereby he can be brought here. We will be able to bring the Brahmana here and no taint will result. Hence, the Lord of Anga will employ a
Courtesan.
courtesan,
Courtesan.
courtesan to bring the Rishi's son here.
Uh,
Courtesan
Courtesan
means?
can be, like a court minister. It could also be like a nartaki in the asthana, something like that. A
Okay.
courtesan. It can be somebody who is like a worker in the court.
Actually, it's usually Nartaki only.
Usually
Person,
nartaki only.
an attendant, lady attendant
Attendant lady, yeah.
to an extent.
Yeah.
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 I think what Navanita ji said is right.
Hmm.
They're talking about Roma Harshana giving Shanta to Rishishringa. I
Mm-hmm.
think so. Shanta is
Makes
the
her go
adopted.
there first. No, no, no. He makes her go there first as a attendant to work for him, to look after, as a dasi. He sends her first. Then after that only he accepts her as a wife.
Okay.
Okay.
Rishishringa.
Adu.
That
Okay. Okay.
So ಇಲ್ಲಿ the next
so here that
the the god will shower down and he will bestow Shanta on him. The god Ali 119, that footnote is the rain god. Apparently they're saying will shower down Ali. Okay, and then this son-in-law Rishishringa will also ensure sons for you. So Ali, it says that that footnote 120, it says there is another aspect of the expression son-in-law. According to some accounts, before he had sons through Kausalya, Dasharatha had a daughter named Shanta, who became King Romapada's adopted daughter. That's what this footnote is saying here. Yeah,
must be.
Kirasta?
Because according to me, from what I knew, that she is Kaushalya's daughter.
Hmm.
He didn't have a
Uh,
son. That's why he put Putra Kamishti again. The daughter was always there.
It says here clearly,
She was
through
the only
Kausalya,
daughter,
Dasharatha had a daughter named Shanta, who became King Romapada's adopted daughter. So, yeah.
maybe.
Okay. Ashwath, please.
Okay. I have told you everything that Sanat Kumara had said. At this, Dashratha was delighted and replied, how can Rishishringa be brought here? You should tell me in detail.
Yeah. So, I'll get that chapter is done.
That's the
Yeah, I think we're at
end of this.
9:58. That's, I think we can wind up with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we're constantly finding references to how we will be when we are dharmic. That is as per Dasharatha's description. Right. So so the Dasharatha not having a son, what does that mean something? He had a daughter. He didn't have a son. Does that mean something? Why didn't he have a son? So something that maybe we can
What are
contemplate on.
three what are three wives mean? Then we can find the
We can
answer.
find out. Yeah, I think we will come to that maybe sometime. Okay, let's
The
stop.
three wives of Dasharatha is usually it is the representation of the three gunas actually. Rajas, Tamas, and Satguna.
Okay.
So actually that could be one of the meanings. So the
Bharat. So you had Bharata and Shatrughna, no, Lakshmana and Shatrughna, who were the twins, alva. Rama, Bharata,
Yeah.
then Lakshmana and Shatrughna. So Rama from Kausalya, and then you had Bharata from Sumitra. Now, what was her name? Sumitra?
No, no, no,
Kaikeyi.
Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi.
Kaikeyi.
Kaikeyi, Bharata from, sorry, how can I forget that? Bharata from Kaikeyi, and Saumitri, Sumitra, Saumitri. So, sorry, I think I'm losing network. Yeah. So Sumitra in the Bharata Shatrugna. I'm sorry, Lakshmana Shatrugna. Yeah. So now, if as per Machinmai, if you are attributing the gunas, then Kausalya should be obviously Sattva guna, and
Sattva.
Kaikeyi
Yeah.
is what, because she was a warrior, she is the Rajoguna, right? So
Rajas,
she is
probably.
Rajas, yeah.
Probably, I'm just giving a.
Saumitri and Sumitra, Lakshmana and
I
Shatrugna.
think I think Sumitra is Rajas and Kaikeyi is Tamoguna.
Oh, that.
Because of evil
Yeah,
thoughts.
I think
probably. Yes, you're
Kaikai is
right.
Rajas,
You're
I
right.
feel.
Kaikeyi
Kaikeyi
was
was a
the
warrior,
tamas
alva.
part of it in this thing. Maybe
Kaikeyi.
she was a warrior, but she brought about the tamas guna,
Yeah.
wherein the acquirement and acquiring and competition and the lower facets of qualities of
Thinking,
people.
lower
In
order
that, the
thinking.
lower facets were the ones addressed by,
Mm,
yeah, there were the tamas factor only was she was addressing there. And Sumitra is actually Rajas because Lakshmana is basically completely Rajas only.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Lakshmana is
Yeah,
a
correct.
very, very macho character, Aditya.
very
Yes,
what
very
character?
active and very distinct. Even Shatrugna,
Active. He,
I don't know.
he doesn't sleep at all.
Yeah, very.
I think 14 years nidde ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದೇನೋ
Huh.
I've heard in some
Also,
Purana. Yeah.
correct, correct.
So there is.
Lakshmana is very, very manly and like macho character. Andre, in one book where I was reading, when Rama was crying after Sita gets kidnapped, Lakshmana says, ಸಾಕ್ ಸುಮ್ನಿರು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಳ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ
Okay.
ಹೋಗಿ ಹುಡ್ಕಣ ಅವಳನ್ನ ಬಾ ಅಂತ ಲೈಕ್
Okay.
ಆತರ ಫುಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ಲಿ
Manly
ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್
character.
ಸೊ
Okay.
oh yeah, that's why it's full of
Oh,
Rajas.
Hmm.
See,
I
Sarpa, no,
remember something.
Sarpa, always the snake is considered to be an epitome of Rajas Guna.
The
And he's
Adishesha. I
this
mean,
thing of,
Lakshmana is Adishesha incarnate,
yes,
alva. Yeah. Yeah.
correct, correct. So that Rajas Guna actually, like she said, Sumitra is actually Rajas Guna. And Tamas is the lady,
Kaikeyi.
Kaikeyi.
Yeah. Like
In
Vishnu.
even in yoga, what we discuss is when Rajas is more, it leads to hyperactivity, and that causes insomnia. Anta.
Yeah.
It means unable to sleep. People are unable to
Lakshman
sleep
had
because high Rajas.
Uh,
so much of
So
insomnia for
Lakshmana is
him.
not sleeping for 14 years. That makes sense.
because he is overly active.
Hyperactive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. So we could attribute the three gunas to the three wives,
Mm.
and that's what he was trying to achieve this thing around that. And when the tamas went more, is where the fall began of
Okay.
Dasharat.
Navnita has shared this in the chat window. I was just saying the three wives can be seen as representing different
Okay.
facets of the human psyche. Kaushalya's wisdom and emotional stability. Kaikeyi's ego, pride, and emotional reactivity. Sumitra's subconscious mind, support system, or instincts.
Beautiful. What a lovely analogy.
Mm. Right? And Sushmita has shared
I
Dasharath's.
like this explanation also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But in fact, Dasharatha had like 353 wives ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Yeah. Three wives are
Oh my
queens.
goodness.
Queens ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
Queens.
Dasharatha had
Oh, is
353
it?
wives.
Consorts.
Yeah.
But again, those will have something to do with the nadi systems.
Yeah.
Majority will be that
That's
only.
what it all boils down to that only.
Correct.
Like Krishna
ಆದ್ರೆ
also having
the
16,000
ಕತೆ is very funny. ಪರಶುರಾಮ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯರನ್ನ ಸಾಯ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಅವನ್ ಸುತ್ತ ಇದ್ನಂತಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ he 21 times he went, but he had some rule. He won't kill two kings, one who is in a yajna mandapa who's getting married and some other person.
Okay.
ಈ ಇಬ್ಬರನ್ನ ಸಾಯಿಸಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. So ಪರಶುರಾಮ ಬಂದಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಇವನು ಮದ್ವೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಿದ್ದ ಅಂತ.
Yeah, ಯಾರು?
That's the story. When Parashurama comes, ಅಲ್ಲೇ
This is.
ಮಂಟಪ ready ಇರ್ತಿತ್ತು, he would sit with the wife and get married.
Okay. So Parashurama was going to kill Dasharatha also, is what you're saying.
all Kshatriyas. Parashurama
Uh,
couldn't control his anger. He
good.
didn't see left and right.
Hmm.
All Kshatriyas he went to kill.
Hmm.
Wow, Dasharatha.
Okay,
What a
okay.
clever king. You know,
So,
one person in Starbucks, it's
hmm,
just out of context. So in Starbucks, they give a free coffee on your birthday.
hmm,
Okay, so
hmm,
when you go and buy, you have to fill up like a card.
hmm,
Okay,
hmm,
so he bought 365 cards,
hmm,
entering 365 days.
hmm,
So after 1 year,
hmm.
every day he got a free coffee because every day was a birthday according to one of his cards.
And of his guts. Hmm. Yeah. So what Sushmita has also shared, Dasha is 10 and Ratha is chariot, meaning Dasharatha literally means one who has 10 chariots. But in a deeper or more symbolic sense, it is often interpreted as one who can fight in 10 directions simultaneously, or one who has control over 10 senses. Yeah. Five sense
Same
organs.
explanation is from
ChatGPT, yeah. I think ChatGPT is hearing, is listening to our conversation right now and learning on the go. In the five organs of action, yeah. Hands, feet, speech, excretory, and reproductive. Yeah, that's true. Karmendriyas and Jnanendriyas. That's right. Yeah. Nice. Good. I think that's a new learning. I'll update it on the Google Sheet also for our reference. So awesome. Nice. I think we are 7 minutes past. So great.
So somewhere I was just reading that 353 versus 3 is a symbolism of quantity over quality.
Okay. Okay.
I found that funny.
What is that?
So, I mean, I was just reading that you may have like 353 or whatever wives, but the main were these three, right?
Yeah.
So quantity over
Actually,
quality.
all the kings had a lot of wives who were common women. Kshatriya princesses alla. But their queens would be the Kshatriya princess ashte. Even the Pandavas had individual wives
Hmm.
before marrying Draupadi also.
Hmm.
ಅದು
Yeah.
ಮಹಾಭಾರತದಲ್ಲೇ ನಾನು ಓದಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They had, but they were just not they were not like to become queens. They were
Hmm.
just wives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that will also have a psychological, philosophical meaning. We can
Some
contemplate on that.
symbolism must be there.
Yeah. 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 Right. Okay. I think we'll wind up with that then. So, Rashmi,
All
ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ
right.
ಶಾಂತಿ ಮಂತ್ರ ಸಹನಾ ಭವತು and may ಸರ್ವೇ ಭವಂತು ಸುಖಿನಃ.
ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहैः तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्
Good. लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ All right.
Okay, good night.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. See you next
Thank you,
Thursday,
Rahul.
9
Thank you
p.m.
to
Good
everyone.
night.
Yeah.
Good
See
Bye.
you
night.
all. Thanks for joining. See you all.